Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flygsnackpodden. This is your captain speaking. Our flight time today will be approximately 50 minutes. The weather en route is always sunny with clear skies. On the flight deck today we have Rickard, Per, Niklas and Martin. You will be able to follow our route on any existing podcast platform. On behalf of Falcon Academy, our crew is delighted to have you on board this special flight. Please sit back, relax and enjoy the flight.
Welcome to Flygsnackpodden, the podcast where real aviation meets real conversation. Today's episode is a little special. Remember we had Captain Gösta Centerwall with us before, but this time we're doing it in English. So our international listeners can join the conversation too. And every flight begins long before the engine starts, before pushback, before takeoff, before the skies open. It begins in the mind, where focus, teamwork, and trust take shape. Our guest has dedicated his entire career to understanding exactly that. Captain Gösta Centerwall, airline pilot instructor, typewriting examiner, CRM, and human factors trainee. He spent decades exploring how pilots think under pressure, how they communicate, how they make decisions when every second matters, and how resilience can turn stress into strength. Recently, he shared these insights at Eurocontrol in Belgium, where his talk on resilience and human performance captured the attention of pilots and safety professionals across Europe. In this episode, we dive deeper in those ideas to explore the human side of aviation, where psychology meets precision and where leadership, communication, and trust are every bit as vital as the aircraft itself. And with that, a warm welcome to Captain Gösta Centerwall. It's a really honor having you here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to be here again.
Thank you.
And good to be speaking English with you guys.
I don't know about that, but let's see how it will turn out.
It's going to be perfect.
It's our premiere episode in English.
Absolutely.
Exciting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So today we are, as Per said, this is our premiere speaking English. Of course, the rest of us is here except Niklas. So Martin, Rickard och Per. And we again going to have the pleasure of listening a little bit and talking to Gösta.
Thank you. Yes.
It's very interesting, actually. And with that said, I think it's easier just to give the word to you.
Thank you very much. Well, last time we talked about the brain, and we dove quite deep into it in Swedish, didn't we? And there was a lot of chit chat as well, so we tried to keep it a little bit shorter this time,
right? Sir,
but still deliver my kind of key points. And I think I was thinking on the way over here, maybe I should ask you guys a couple of questions as well today.
Sure, absolutely.
Without provoking you too much. Yeah. All right. No, as you said, my kind of passion has become understanding how we react under pressure and under stress. So about a year ago, I put together a little lecture. The reason for that was a tragic event among my friends, where a young person were affected very, very hard of mental health issues. And I thought, I actually do know a lot about this. I've studied a lot about it. So why don't I do something? So I sat down and I did something, and turned out to be great. I've been around giving some lectures for young people, and also it's been popular in the aviation circuit. Because a brain is a brain, no matter if it sits on a young individual trying to navigate, the early years in life, or if it's an experienced airline captain. So that's where I started, and now we're sitting here talking about the brain again.
Yeah.
Just can you give us a short brief about your fly career? For our listener.
Started off in the 90s over in the States. My granddad was a fighter pilot in now we're talking World War II. So
no way.
Yeah, he was flying the open aircrafts at that time. So kind of idolizing him and wanted to follow the same path there. So I started a civilian career. So I flew a couple of years in the States and then came back, started as an instructor in the up in Stockholm, got on with a government-owned airline. It was actually flying for the postal company. Three little 737-300 quick change version for those interested.
Wow.
And the quick change version is really cool because I got to fly freight during nighttime and then charter on the holidays, and we flew for a SAS during daytime. So passengers, charter, and
this is the whole thing.
Yeah. So that was fun, but it wasn't really heavy. It had like a 2 tons extra door in the front, so we could basically not go anywhere. No, it didn't have no range. We could not fly Canaries and so on. But we flew Alicante and Malaga and some places.
Did you have layovers at that time?
Yes, we did, but it was mainly Umeå and Malmö and Stockholm.
In wintertime.
Yeah, in wintertime. So no, but it was a great little airline, and the knowledge gained from that, and also the lovely colleagues, still have a lot of contact with many of them. So Per also knows a lot, or is flying with a lot of them. So shout out to them, definitely.
Yeah, it's nice guys from Falcon. We have a lot of them in our present company still. Yeah.
Still going strong.
Yeah, some of them,
Yeah.
I got to ask you just a quick one. I'm not going to hold up on that. Is it a big difference by flying passengers than flying freight?
That was the first I learned when I started in Falcon Air was that the post packages doesn't complain. That was the first thing I learned from the old captains at that time. So yeah, there is a difference.
There's a difference. Yeah.
No, but I like the passenger part because that is more social.
That's what I wanted to come to.
More social interactions with both cabin and of course the passengers. The paying ones. So no, then I as everyone else in the airline industry, not everyone, but a lot of us got fired 2001 after 9/11.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
So as a young FO at that time, we got fired, a lot of us, due to that aviation basically died during a couple of years there, as it does every 10 years. And then, but I was lucky to get on, and then I flew the Airbus for a bit on Transair, a charter company that was flying for a kind of travel agent thing called Goodjet. And then I got the opportunity to be a part of starting up airline called Fly Me. So I was sitting in the office at that time and became the training manager in that company. And also that was my first captain's role in that company. Through many adventures there, but then that went belly up after 4 years, as airlines do in Scandinavia from time to time. Then we started a new venture called Torar, and we were flying we got a contract with Iraq. So we were down in Iraq in 2008, 9, 10, flying and that was very challenging, but also very rewarding. It's fun to have done. It is very exhausting to do, but I got to test my stress in Iraq. Definitely, that was a real challenge. And then I started with Norwegian, where I am now a colleague with Per, and been flying there. And the kind of, if you want to see something that is common for everything I've done throughout my career, starting over in the States, is instructing. That is really my passion, and that is the reason why I'm so passionate about how our brain works. Because
definitely.
How I question myself: how do I learn anything, and how do I learn it quicker, and how do I react under stress, and how can I be calmer, and so on. So that's kind of the main question for me, which have taken me into universities and other studies, which I found very interesting.
It's really cool.
So that's the short version.
Yeah,
we can expand that if, but we won't today.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now.
All right.
So we can do it easy. I mean, it's better off if you can like explain a little bit about the whole thing that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we can start out in Brussels. It's, in June, there was a big flight seminar created by the Flight Safety Foundation, and they were this time addressing mental health. So people from everywhere around the world, I think we were between 200, 250, like all the regulators, regulating bodies, and the airlines, unions got together. A lot of psychologists were there to talk about mental health issues. I mean, this is a big topic, definitely. We're flying longer and longer hours. We don't have the best training for it. We are not sleeping. Or at least we're not getting enough sleep, and we're turning the clock around constantly. Yeah. And nutrition-wise, we're not getting the best food and so on. So we're not really set for the best. We don't have the best framework to have a good mental health overall, and especially we don't have any training for it. There is basically zero training in aviation for mental health. We have a little bit that's included in the CRM part, and after the terrible accident, or it's not an accident, unfortunately it was intentional, with German wings at the time.
Oh yeah,
where an active pilot. At least that is what the aircraft investigation says, that one of the active pilots intentionally flew the aircraft into the ground.
Yeah, that was a really big disaster.
Yeah, and that became a big thing, of course. And after that, some laws have come in, and the biggest change basically is that now it's required for every company to have peer pilots. Yeah. And a peer pilot is someone that has a telephone that any one of the other pilots could call and say, hey, I need help. I'm struggling.
This is a question that is going to be hard to answer, but do you think it would be, or they would be able to help that guy who made the German one?
Oh,
if they had this
a question that is too hard for me to answer, because now I want to point out that I don't have a psychology degree.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I am my kind of lectures and the things I'm saying, I need to be really clear that I am addressing healthy individuals, because when you go over to the other side where your brain is not healthy anymore, you need professional help, and that's not me. I want to be proactive, so I'm trying to spread my word to everyone that is just normal pilots or anyone with a human brain that want to train themselves to be more resilient, to have a better foundation to stand on when life happens.
So about the peer pilots, like a stepping stone forward to reach out to a psychologist after that.
It is. You could just have a friend, a peer, to bounce question off. Yeah. I'm going through a terrible divorce. I have something happening in my life that is really, and I feel that I cannot concentrate on my job right now. What should I do? Unfortunately, in many companies, these guys don't get enough phone calls.
Yeah. Oh, it is. But when I listened to your speech at Eurocontrol in Brussels, I recognize myself in that you said that psychologists are like bouncers. They're going to stop you And I remember all my career, even from the flight school. I remember we had like a CRM training, and there was a rumor there's a psychologist in the school.
Yeah,
everybody was so tense.
It is the typical view we pilots have of psychologists, how that we're intimidating by them, because they when you're on the outside, when you haven't gone into the aviation world yet, or to the pilot life, those guys have a lot of power over you.
That's what I wanted to come to. I mean, the psychologist, he's like the one who decides if you fly or not.
Yeah, exactly. So you do the tests with psychologists, and they basically give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down that this person will, be a good or a bad pilot.
And
so that is, of course, very intimidating.
Absolutely.
And it rests with us throughout the career. And my intention is to kind of take that away. We don't need to be afraid of them.
And resilience is a quite trendy word right now, and we're going to use it in this podcast. Yeah. Can you just short and constructive way describe resilience?
We tried to do it in Swedish last time, so let's see.
Can you take that example?
We could have a new
one.
The reason I've gone deep into resilience is that I didn't understand the word, so I'm sorry to use it without giving an explanation to it before. I've come to that age where which we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
if I don't understand anything, I put my hand up and I don't get it. So a couple of years ago, this word became really trendy, and it actually got written into the aviation laws that we should train our pilots to become resilient. And being in the training department at that time, I was like, I don't get this. The whole training should be about making them resilient, and I don't know what this word is. So I went deep down into the books and kind of read through. There are so many definitions on resilience out there. So let's first start off that we're talking about psychological resilience at this time. And that there are many explanations on psychological resilience and different definitions on it. But the definition that I like the most is the definition where it says to withstand and bounce back and thrive from adversities or hardship. So let's break that down. So we know what we're talking about, because many people think it's just resistance.
Yeah.
Now resistance will go into in the first part when we talk about to withstand adversities. Let's start off with that one. So to withstand adversities, we have this resemblance with a boxer. If we think about a boxer in a ring, and the first thing is how many punches can the boxer take?
Yeah.
That is resistance, basically, but it is a part of resilience. And that is the first part. How many punches can you take before you go down on the mat? So that's the first layer. And then the second layer, when you get that punch, so you go down on the mat, that is the second one. And that is basically to bounce back then, because then the referee comes up and starts counting 1, 2, 3, and the boxer slowly rises up with a lot of drama. You've seen the movies or the matches.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so the question number 2, how long is the boxer down on the mat before he or she rises up again? And that is the second layer. Basically, when we're talking about the mental part, how long are you out before you start working again? Or if we talk about the mental part on the long time axis, how long are you in a depression or in a really severe state before you come back to life, to a good life again? And the last part is to bounce back and thrive, the thrive part. How good does the boxer fight when he or she stands up again?
Yeah.
So a third layered approach. How much can you withstand? How long are you down on the mat? And how good do you fight when you're back?
When you're back. Yeah.
That's a good example.
I like that.
It's very, it's a good one. Very, very good explained.
Very modest.
I try to be.
I think you would have gotten the really theoretical, difficult one in the academic world as well.
As we said before, I like the simple explanations.
Yeah. That's what we're trying
so
to
much
do.
easier.
It is.
Like we are 10 years old.
Exactly. No, this a kid can understand as well, actually. No, so that is the basic. So the research that I've read about when it comes to resilience, I of course started to study what's happening in the aviation world, but what I've kind of find out, probably there is a lot of more intelligent and more academic people than me that has studied and that might have another explanation. But what I've read is that it actually, the resilience studies in the psychology world started in aviation as well. After the Second World War, psychologists found it so interesting how some of the former fighter pilots at that time had fantastic careers, flourishing careers in civil, military, or political, or whatever they might have. They did amazing things, and they had really good lives, although they had been through terrible times during the Second World War. And then we had the other side, where many of them were struggling severely with burnout, with alcoholism, with PTSD, a lot of alcoholism, and so on. Yeah. And there is even this rumor that one of them was one of the founders for Hells Angels, Let's just start a club and live outside the grid, outside of
But
society.
It's not a rumor, it's true.
So they found it so interesting that they've been through the same horrible things. How come some people flourish while some fall off the grid? So they started to study this, and the research went through the years, and then we came up to the 60s where we had a setback that we're still struggling, Per, and help me out here if you have any inputs on this one, where we came to the selection of the Mercury astronauts.
Right stuff.
The right stuff, exactly, which we're suffering with still. Because during the 60s, they took out the Mercury astronauts and kind of, we're actually even into the 50s when we started to talk about this, they put the Navy and Air Force pilots through incredible tests psychologically. And they picked out 7 of them. And these were selected to become the first American astronauts, called the Mercury astronauts. And they gave them this godlike status.
Absolutely.
And said, these guys are the right stuff.
It's the best of the best of the best.
Sounds like a movie with Bruce Willis, actually.
They actually made a movie that's called The Right Stuff.
It's a very good one, actually.
It is good. It is the journalist who wrote the book, The Right Stuff, Tom Wolfe, it is actually a documentary, a journalistic documentary.
I read the book as well. It was good.
It is. But it puts a lot of stress on us because we still think, am I the right stuff or am I not the right stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is that some days, most days I am, but some days I'm not. And we have to start that conversation. It's okay to be the right stuff sometimes and some days not. But we need to be able to identify it as individuals and kind of analyze ourselves. And to be able to do that, we need to have some knowledge about our brain. And we need to question how we behave and learn to train it a little bit. And that's my mission. That is what I'm so passionate about. So if we start to dig into that a little bit, my resemblance to the brain as a machine is kind of rests well with pilots and with you guys as well. And it does actually with many humans because we're really good at handling machines. So the problem with our brain is that it is the most advanced machine that we know about for us in the universe as for now.
It
is. And we're really good at handling machines. We take care of our toasters. We take care of our lawnmowers. We take care of our cars. But the most advanced one we don't have any knowledge about, or we run it on trial and error.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but I remember the last time you said it. I mean, it's so obvious.
Obviously.
So if we get a little bit of understanding for it and a little bit of knowledge about it, we can treat it a lot better, and it could work a lot better. We have a service program for our car. We should have a service program for our brain.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
it's a no-brainer. But we don't do it. It's amazing.
Are you from Gothenburg?
I'm starting to adapt to the West Coast.
That's good.
Yeah.
So if we start to dig into the brain a little bit, having that thought about resilience in the background as we do this and we dive into the brain a little bit, I mean, we're all sitting here with 4 human brains, and we're very different as individuals. But we all have human brains. It's not that one of us is sitting with a completely different brain when it comes to the basic structures. So if we learn a little bit about the basic structures, since they are all the same, we could understand our own brains a bit differently and stop that part where we're saying, well, you don't understand me because you don't know what I need because we're so different, you and I. Well, that is true to a certain extent, but the basics are the same. Your brain will react the same if we all of a sudden hear a loud bang in here as mine.
Exactly.
We get scared. Some of the basic functions are just there since we're humans. And that is, if we learn just a little bit about them, we can treat our brain a lot better. So it's about stress handling. And that has been my question in the training world for a long time. What is the most important thing that we need to teach pilots? And before I read about resilience, my answer to that question is, well, the most important thing to teach a pilot is to learn a pilot to handle his or her own stress. If we can start there, if I can teach Per how to, in the best possible way, handle his own stress, we're set, because then he can handle all the checklists and he can read and he can reason logically. But if he cannot handle his own stress, it doesn't matter how many systems I teach you. It doesn't matter how many checklists you get, because if you cannot handle your own stress, the flight is doomed, basically. Yeah. So we need to start there to learn how to handle our own stress. And that became then the more advanced version of it, resilience. We need to train them to become resilient. So thinking about the boxer again there, let's dive into the brain then and learn some basics about it, as we talked about last time. So shall we take your brain this time, Per?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, lucky me. I was a little bit nervous here.
Me too.
No, so right inside your forehead, just behind your forehead, is the logical part. There is a big part called the difficult Latin word prefrontal cortex. That is where you do reasoning, math. It's the one that's active now when we think and we reason and so on. And it's the one that makes us human in many ways, because it's most advanced with us human beings. And some more primitive species don't have basically any of it. It cannot deal with logical reasoning. I think flies and so on cannot deal with logical reasoning. They only go by instinct. Yeah. So this one is the one we use in aviation, of course, and this one is the one we need in a modern society to get along. The problem with that part of the brain is that it's very sensitive to stress. And stress in this case is inputs, but it needs some inputs to be active. So when we're sitting at home watching reruns what's your favorite Doomsday Prepper or whatever favorite show?
Of course, that one is great.
Then your brain is not very active.
No.
You need some input. So when you're sitting doing a math test, it's very active. Or when you're sitting on your flight, it's very active, or should be. During some phases, when you and I are sitting and talking about what you did on vacation on the way down to Las Palmas, it's not very active.
Yeah.
We're sitting having a good time. We're relaxed. But when we're active, doing logical reasoning and so on, then this is fully going, and it works well because it has some stress. And stress in this case is cortisol and some other hormones, or stress hormones, but let's stick with the one, cortisol, to keep it as simple as possible, as pilot friendly as possible, as we call it. Yeah. So cortisol in this case is the stress hormone that influences your prefrontal cortex. And if you kind of raise the volume on cortisol inside your brain, this works like basically your RPM gauge or your tachometer. It's the indicator of how hard you run it. But the problem is that we don't have a gauge for it. We don't see it. Which make it troublesome because I cannot read you, for example, how hard you are running your brain, and I can't read me either. I don't know how hard I am running my brain. I should question it, but I don't know really how hard I'm running it. If I don't train myself to get to know my brain, how much it can withstand and how fast it can bounce back, and so on. So cortisol, if it increases and increases and increases, it has a red limit where the cortisol basically influences the brain in a way that's saying that your prefrontal or logical brain now is overloaded. You're getting too much inputs. It's probably a threat somewhere here. I need to start another part of the brain.
Yeah.
So it shuts down your logical brain and starts up another one, which is then the reptile brain or the amygdala, which is a very primitive little almond-shaped or two almond-shaped things that you have deeper rooted down here, basically between your ears, a little bit lower. And that is called the reptile brain for a reason. Reptiles also have it, and most mammals have that, or I think every mammal. I shouldn't say that, but because I don't know. But
probably most.
Yeah. Mammals have the reptile brain as well. So the reptile brain kicks in, and this one is great to keeping us alive when we need to flee, when we need to fight, or when we need to sit very still so the saber-toothed tiger doesn't eat us. So, and it's, of course, inherited from when we were hunters and collectors at the savannah. But the problem is that it doesn't feel any function in a modern society, and especially not in a cockpit when we're exposed to a stressful situation. Yeah. We really need to reason and think logically. Yeah. And now we struggle with logical reasoning. If we get too much cortisol, too much stress, the lever goes into red and we cannot reason logically.
That's how some people, they just shut off, close down.
Yeah.
And some get aggressive.
Angry.
And
fight.
And somebody has to leave the situation, maybe.
Yeah.
Go out of the room.
If you have an ejector seat, you'd sit there.
That is really the definition of fleeing, isn't it?
But this is really individual, right?
It is.
Because some people get reptile brain straight away, almost.
Yeah.
I can feel myself in some points that my reptile brain it goes on so fast.
Kicks in.
But some days it's really logical and it doesn't kick in.
No.
I don't know if it's the moment or how I am feeling that day, or what's the
what's the golden?
Yeah. Do you have that one?
No. Well, we're different as individuals, definitely, and we have. You might have a longer threshold. but it's also very dependent upon the day and upon what you experience in life. If you have a lot of stress in your private life, you take it with you to your work.
True.
And you are less resilient that day.
Yeah.
If you are tested and you know that you have a really long threshold before you get this phenomenon, by the way, is named in the psychology world as the amygdala hijack, where the amygdala then hijacks the brain and I'm in charge now, I have controls, and basically set back the logical brain from reasoning. And if we know this is the part where we have withstand a lot of stress. That is the resistance part. That is the first layer of resilience. But now we all of a sudden getting that punch and the boxer is down on the mat. And now we need to come back. We need to retake control of our logical brain. So this is the bouncer, or this is the boxer trying to stand up again, because the boxer is now down on the mat. The logical thinking is out, so we need to regain control. And different individuals have different, let's say, lengths before we can come back. How long are you out? How stressful are you? Well, it's very dependent on what you have in your private life and what day it is. And this is what you need to start looking at as an individual, start training as an individual, and start questioning. So, and this is what we try to train in the simulator as well, to make you self-resilient. So we got tools for this, and we can use these tools. The tool for handling acute stress that now is scientifically proven is breathing. That is the quickest way to bounce back, to regain control, or really what we're talking about is to lower the cortisol level. The fastest way to lower the cortisol level, according to science, is to breathe slow and deep.
It's kind of interesting because when I was a new first officer in a small airline, I had an old grumpy captain, but it was maybe ahead of his time, because he said to me, Per, if something happens, you should remember bad. Okay, what do you mean? First breathe, take it easy, then assess, and then decide. So take it slow, slow down. So it's kind of interesting. This is like almost 30 years ago, but
that's a good thing to take with me in the traffic.
Traffic is really one of those places where I think it's like 36 people in the States that die from road rage.
Wow.
And road rage is just that's even an expression called road rage.
It is.
Road rage is terrible, I think.
Talk about reptile brain.
Yeah, exactly. Where someone actually gets out of the car and kills the other driver.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, they get so angry. I've seen it on like YouTube and stuff. And it's not a joke.
Oh. So that is definitely an amygdala hijack in the severe version, where we're totally deep into fight and flight response, and this is in this time fight. But this captain, sorry to get back to you, he obviously stumbled over this somehow, probably through good training or something. But the thing is that nowadays it's scientifically proven, so we can start training it not just from a wise old captain.
And I mean, we didn't talk about it back then.
No, we did not.
Because the CRM was not near what it is now. It's totally different.
It is. It is. Now we all. I talked about how we drive our brain on trial and error, and I think we mentioned it last time as well. That I learned from my old captains, just watching them, how cool and calm they were, and I started to imitate their behavior. That is how I said, I want to be that guy. I want to react as cool, as calm, and as he or she does. So I started to imitate the behavior and kind of stumble over this. If I breathe slow, move slow, and talk slow, which is my kind of first tool on how to handle acute stress, then I'll be that right stuff, cool kind of guy that could react in the right direction.
I also follow that decision. Some first officers nowadays think I'm a little slow in the head because I react so slowly. But that's my thing, just to take it easy, try it to anyway. So,
yeah.
But then it's like you said, you have different days. Some days you are not as able to cope stress, maybe as good as some days. But all in all, yeah.
So what you stumble over there, Per, is really, your brain in a way that to be able to cope with this problem or this stressful situation, the first thing I need to do is to see that my logical brain is still in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you learn to withstand a lot of stress that way.
Yeah.
Thanks to that old captain, or just a couple of words.
Yeah.
And this is how we train throughout history.
Yeah.
But now we have the science behind it.
Yeah.
So this little checklist then that I put together, that if we breathe slow, move slow, and talk slow, we can retake control of our logical processor, or we can withstand more.
Yeah.
The talk slow and move slow is really a trick to make us breathe slow, because the breathing part is really the important one. Yeah. So that's kind of, and how do we train it? Because when we're sitting then, and if you and I are out flying and we're in an emergency, it's not like, okay, there is a fire. We need to breathe slow. That wouldn't be kind of the best reaction. Yeah. But if we start to train this, and not only in the simulator, in everyday life, as we talked about in the traffic, I can feel ashamed of myself sometimes how I react when my kids are fighting back home. I immediately go like, come on. My brain just kicks in, and I want to shout at them.
Yeah, everyone can relate to that, I think.
So, I'm same as you, Martin. I mean, I know I can react like without logic if it's something small, like I can't find my keys or something like that. It's almost like I'm giving permission to the brain to get pissed, and I can get really pissed. But then, if I look at it, when I've been to real stuff important, like when I've been, for example, I was out on myself in a storm with my boat. Yeah. I just had the course skepparexamen, and I should know this is not what you're going to do, but I did it anyway. Yeah. And it was in about 9 hours. I was sitting, going a path that usually takes 40 minutes, and I was struggling actually this was for my life. To go under or not, and during that time, I was, and I know I've been with this before, I was totally calm. I can't even remember some stuff, but all I did, because I always been like, how the hell are you going to remember everything that idiot said at the course? But I started some stuff like, okay, I have to climb on the waves. How was that? Okay. And then I have to look, the sea is coming from this side, and it's really bad. But I saw the whole sea was inside the boat as well. I mean, I was under sometimes, and I go, okay, just keep like this. And I mean, I don't think like that when I'm looking for my keys. I mean.
So that is a really interesting thing to listen to yourself, what you're saying right there, because then you know that you have good reactions when you're in a really stressful, even life-threatening situation. But when you're looking for your car keys, you get amygdala hijacked.
Immediately.
So you're the one doing it.
Good.
You're the one doing it.
Yeah.
You allow yourself.
Exactly.
To
it's almost that I'm under my mind, I think you're allowing it. I am allowing.
So can I provoke you with a question?
Yes, please.
Would it be beneficial for you to maybe have some tools to work on that aggression with the keys part?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that is where we start to work. Yeah. If we can get, good habits on not letting the amygdala taken over for a couple of keys, we can become more resilient in life as a total. And that's where we need to start. Well, I reacted really stupid in this and this and this situation. Yeah. Okay, that's not a feature that I like with my personality. Can I change it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we start to work on it. Yeah. And I really try to explain that we need to start that training. We don't need to leave it to chance. We could train it, and we should train it if we want to get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we get good at what we train on. So if you don't train it, you're just like, I'm just like that.
Exactly. That's a common way.
Do you want to be like that?
No, not at all.
No, exactly. And I don't want to road rage and I don't want to get. I feel almost embarrassed sometimes when are my kids just kids, or is the problem with me? And 9 times out of 10, it's me. Sometimes every once in a while they need, of course, that they're acting in an improper way, but sometimes it's almost all the times it's me. So I need to question myself and try to
you need to question yourself, and that's totally me as well. Because it's very hard sometimes to tell my daughters that, please calm down. It's just a small thing. And they go like, how about you when you're looking for your keys?
I know, 1 minute after it's yourself doing it.
And I go, do you hear that? Yes, we do. Okay. I thought it was only me. It's almost embarrassing to like, okay, yeah. So for real, this would be a big a big yes for me
to start to work on a bit.
Yeah.
All right. So next question: are you going to work on it?
Yes, I am.
And that's the provoke.
No, because the last time we talked in Swedish, I'm not going to say this is almost like a cliche, but I have been working on the things you're going to explain later, the checklist. Yeah. Not like worldly, but the thing where I am sitting in a phone, whatever, or I hate computers sometimes because when they don't do what I want them to do. And I have this with me that, okay, start talking slow. I'm a guy that always talks to myself, even when I'm alone in somehow.
Most of us do.
You get really good answers when you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I need expert advice.
But for real, the thing is to breathe and talk slow, even for myself.
But I think before you came, Gösta, we had a problem with the soundboard.
Yeah.
And you were quite calm.
Really? I started, for real, I started when I was down on the floor. Yeah. And I go, why, excuse the language, why the F now? What's wrong with this? And then I go, okay, calm down, think about it. And that's true, I did.
Yeah.
And I thought about that because I listened to the Swedish episode yesterday with you, Gösta, and then I thought about Rickard, and let's see what happens now. But he was quite calm now.
So that's good.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you, Pat.
Way to go, Rickard.
Yeah. So that is the first tool. That is the first checklist. And so what do we have now? We have an explanation on what happens during acute stress in our brain, where the amygdala takes over, and we have the cure for it.
Yeah.
At least in an acute situation where we're sitting on a flight deck, where we're having an emergency and so on. We need to keep our logical brain going. How do we do that? Well, we do that through training, where the training becomes breathe slow, move slow, and talk slow, so we can become more resilient in this case. So that's kind of the first basic tool on how to handle acute stress.
I mean, it has to have like this when you guys are captains and you have the first officer that is brand new, whatever. And I mean, if I was a first officer and I, as you said before, could tell that Per, oh, wow, he's talking slow to me, even when I think it's a real emergency, or I mean, it's how you are as well. Has to be a big thing in the learning process.
Yeah, we have a huge influence on each other.
Yeah.
And that I've seen in the simulator so many times where, and it could be the opposite way around, where the captain is stressed as well, and a calm first officer kind of gets the overall cortisol level down on the flight deck.
But you see the other way around as well. Yeah.
But the common is, of course, that the captain with more experience then is the calm one that brings the first officer down. I mean, I remember being the first officer, and sometimes, this is early on in my training, I could watch some of these captains and think, oh my God, could he be any slower? Come on, we need to do this, and we need to do it now. A good first officer is a quick first officer. But nowadays I realize, and of course I know the science behind it as well, why is he reacting that way? Well, he's trying to keep his logical brain in charge. So, and that, of course, after a while I realized that those guys, it always worked so good with them. On the other hand, even though they were so slow, it always, well, that was a really good simulator session. That was a really good flight. How come? And then, all right, I want to be that guy.
Exactly.
I want to be the fast-fingered Freddy, as we call it in the simulator, who do something quick. We take a checklist, anyone. It doesn't matter which one. We just need to do one quick. Just as we move quick, we're good. No, so of course, then we need to have some logical thought behind it as well.
Yeah.
So that is the first layer on how to handle acute stress.
Yeah.
Now let's move into when things are not going well.
Yeah.
Because with that first part, we can withstand so much stress during a really long time. We could, if we get rest and recovery afterwards. But if we don't get rest and recovery afterwards, and we are exposed to new stress and don't get enough rest and recovery after that, and we continue, the curve goes up and up and up and up. And then all of a sudden we're looking at months or maybe years. And then we start to talk about mental health issues after a while, because we have too much cortisol constantly going off and on. For the amygdala hijack is a constant thing. And they've even, I read some articles that they've even seen that the amygdala can actually grow if we're like people with severe PTSD and that has been through a burnout for a long time. They have seen growth in their amygdala because their amygdala is so active and constantly in charge.
Physically, it could grow.
Physically grow. Yeah. So, and we don't want to kind of go there. We need that part of the brain, and that's like above my knowledge level on how it works and how we need it. But what I need in my world mostly is the logical brain, of course.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I want to keep that in charge as long as possible. So now when we don't get rest and recovery for a long time, we get mental health issues, all right? It could be burnout. We could get depression, or even worse, like suicide thoughts or mental illness if we're exposed to stress for too much. So we need to be aware of this, and we need to take care of it, and we need the tools on how to handle that as well. And here I've been in the situation myself. So now we're coming to that part where last time I told a story about what I was exposed to during 2017, which have really sparked the interest for mental health issues and so on. And because life happens to all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And 2007 was the stressful time in my life where if we take a little bit shorter version this time, but me and my wife, we had been through a renovation that had all kinds of troubles with it on a house. And you've seen all the house series where people are always get into the situation where the finance is low and there are so many decisions that need to be made, and we're not getting there, so we need to do a lot of work ourselves and so on. And for everyone else as us, it was the same thing. But we're coming to the end of it in 2017, and we're going to move in December. But in October, my wife is hit by a car, and that day was really it stuck with me, because I get this phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning when I'm still laying in bed. And it's a man in the other side of the line, but I see it's my wife's number on the screen.
Oh yeah.
So I answer it thinking it's my wife that wants something, that forgot something because she just left the house. So I answer, and it's a man in the other side, on the other end of the line. And he says, "Is this Gösta Centerwall?" And I say, "Yes." And so, "Okay, your wife has been hit by a car." And that phone call stayed a long time with me, because my life kind of stopped right there. To make a long story short, she broke a thumb.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it was not bad, but that phone call stuck with me, because my head started to spin.
Oh, definitely.
When do we get that terrible call in our life?
Yeah.
So I was losing a bit of sleep on this, or started to do, and that was probably due to the fact that I was in a really stressful situation from the beginning with the renovation and everything. So the next thing that happens a month after that is that we're getting sued on the stuff that we've done on the house. So that takes us from a good economy to a totally unknown economy, where we might even be facing financial bankruptcy, or if the municipal office had won that case.
Oh yeah.
It takes 4.5 years to solve, which was terrible and really stressful. We win it in the end. That doesn't really matter, but for me it was a personal victory, of course.
Absolutely.
But that I lost also a lot of sleep over financial problems. And then 1 month after that, just a couple of days before we move into the house, there is a kidnapping attempt on our 3-year-old son at the kindergarten, which is, of course, very stressful. And police investigation, they didn't find the guy. A guy came in, tried to take our son, and one of the teachers see it and stops him, and he runs off with a bad explanation on how he was trying. I'm going to take the kid to his mother, blah blah blah. And the police investigation is since they don't have a guy, they after a while they just decide we're going to close it. But for me and my wife, it of course stuck with us. We're thinking about what could have happened.
Of course.
Which is the most natural thing to think about for a parent.
Yeah.
So all these three things happen, and we move, and so it's a really, really stressful situation in my life. Now, I'm saved by preventive measures, since I'm lucky enough, by coincidence, I'm scheduled to do my medical exam in January. So this was in December. We move, we celebrate Christmas, which was also stressful at that time. And then I have my medical exam, and I trust my doctor very well. He's a really good guy up in Gothenburg. And this was one of the key factors that my kind of therapy was so successful, is that first of all, I trust my doctor. I went to him. He asked me, because one part also after the German wings accident is that the medical examiner should ask you, a part should be to check your brain. How are you? How's life? And so on. Yeah. How stressful is your life? And since I trust him, I am honest at that time. So I tell him, and he known me for a long time. So he says, "Oh my God, Gösta, why haven't you called me? This is typical one of those time in life where you should have called me, but good that you're here and good that you're honest. I'm connected to this really good aviation psychologist. Would you like to speak with him?" And now we come to that part where
bouncers.
Bouncers, yeah.
Of course, I didn't want to speak to that guy. To speak to a psychologist, me? No,
not at all. It's great.
I'm supposed to be a healthy pilot. I should not be speaking
right stuff.
I should not be speaking to a psychologist. Exactly. So, but he's not forcing me. He says, you have this door open. And then I come home to my wife and I kind of jokingly tell her that, you know what my doctor said? He said I could speak to a psychologist. Haha.
Yeah.
Kind of like, wasn't that a crazy idea? And she is much wiser than I am, luckily. So she just looks at me and says, come on, what are you going to do with that? You know, shouldn't you? Isn't it a good thing?
Yeah.
You check yourself. So after a lot of consideration, I decided, yes, I should. I also called the company and they're really supportive and we'll pay for it, you know, off you go.
Yeah.
And that's also a key factor in this. So then I meet this psychologist and I couldn't, all my preconceived ideas about psychologists were just ruined with meeting that guy. He was like 65 at the time, and he sits me down and says, okay, we're going to talk about you, Gösta, but first we're going to talk about me. And then he tells me how he became a psychologist. He says that, you know, I was a Air Force pilot in the Swedish Air Force since I was a young man. And then in the end of the 90s, the Swedish Air Force were struggling with the mental health issues on a lot of the, I don't know if it was a lot, but apparently the pilots in the Air Force didn't want to talk to psychologists either.
Of course.
So they couldn't make them. So what they did was that they took a couple of the pilots, put them through the psychology program for 6 years. And when they were finished, they got the pilots to talk to psychologists because they thought that they were talking to pilots, and that is more familiar, and we feel better about that. So this was one other guy sitting in front of me, and all of a sudden I have 100% trust in him.
Oh yeah, it was totally another person in that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He changed from being this bouncer for me. Should I just explain that expression, why I talk about the bouncers?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, no, so what I said down in Brussels was I see the psychologists as bouncers at a club. They could stop me from entering, which is then the initial test. But also, if I'm inside the club, they could throw me out if I don't behave. Yeah, because they have that power. So for me, even going to see a psychologist was that the first question that pops on in my mind is he or she going to throw me out of the club?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
So that was my view, and I could not have been more wrong in that view, yeah. So we sit and we have a 3-hour conversation, and when we're finished, he just laughs and says, you pilots are all the same. and he knows, since he's a pilot,
of course.
And then he says, human brains as a whole are really good at thinking about the worst case scenario. But you who are in a safety related work, because this applies to any human brain, but especially pilots or anyone in a safety-related work, or just anyone who has a lot of responsibility in their life, a parent or whatever. He said, you've been sitting up there, Gösta, and you've been considering worst-case scenarios. It is your job to do that. You're sitting trying to predict what could happen on the flight deck. So you're sitting up there thinking worst case scenario, worst case scenario, which is a tremendous thing in your job, in your line of work, and it makes you a good pilot. But it is a catastrophe in your private life. Because you're laying awake at night and you're losing sleep over this, and you're thinking about all the things that could have happened to your wife, all the things that could happen to your son, and all the things that might happen to the economy, your private economy. The problem with these problems is that they are not solvable because they didn't happen.
Yes, of course.
You're just thinking about them. So you're just digging and digging and digging. And if you continue to dig, you're off that part where your brain never get rest and relaxation. So you're going to build up, you're going to climb up that stress curve, and you're going to end up with mental health issues, be it depression or burnout or even worse. And then it will be years for you to come back. So if you can learn to handle this, if you can address when, all right, now I'm thinking about these really destructive, unsolvable problems, and it's just an imagination. If they were to happen for real, I would be able to solve them, but these problems have no solution. So I need to stop thinking about them. And here again, I think we're lucky in the kind of pilot mentality, because I listen to him. I kind of look at it in a machine thinking kind of way. So this person that I trust really well tells me that this is what I need to do. Otherwise, this will happen. Okay, then I'll just do what he says. For me, it was a simple thing. So preventive measures worked really well with me. I could quite soon identify, all right, here I am laying awake at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about what could have happened to my son. And it doesn't give me anything. I need to refocus. How do I do it? Well, sometimes I even got out of bed and just, cleared my mind and then went back and started to think about something that made me happy, taking the kids to the amusement park, or we have a great amusement park there in Gothenburg, which we spent a lot of time on that one at that particular time in life, or taking my wife on a dinner or whatever. It's something that makes me glad inside. It started to refocus and think about that. And that simple tool has made my life so much easier and has made myself so much more resilient before I went down into the university studies about this, because I cannot, my life is, I'm on the other side. I'm resilient in the best kind of way because I'm thriving after I've been through a rough time. So I want to share this, how to do that. And he taught me that easy trick on how to try to identify unsolvable problems and how to just stop caring about them. They don't do you anything good. So that was really an eye-opener for me. And for me, it was easy to adapt to that. Of course, if you're deeper into mental health issues, it won't be, and it will just be stressful if someone tells you that, oh, now you need to stop that because your brain is kind of prone to do it. So then you need professional help during a long time. But most of us don't. Most of us just need some simple tools in our everyday life.
Some simple tune-up for it.
Exactly.
Go to the doctor and get a little bit of tune-up.
When you drive to the car wash with your new, fancy, nice, beautiful car, do you kind of or do you I don't care about going to wash my car, or do you select the gold kind of best program? You kind of want to have the gold program for your brain. Definitely. Absolutely.
It's interesting to listen because in my world, it's a lot of entrepreneurship and business. And I has always been taught to think the opposite. If you get bad news, I need to think about the best outcome from it. Meanwhile, in the pilots, you always think about
we're trying to think the worst case.
So it's very interesting. But I find it sometimes hard to use it in real life because my brain is, as anyone else, is like thinking about, oh, why is this happening and this can happening. But I try to think about what's the best outcome all the time,
which gives you a richer life. It does. So you get more out of life if you try to.
I try to.
from that perspective instead. Of course, this is a feature that we have from when we were hunters and collectors again. That is the thing that kept us alive. The people who are not sitting in the room, their ancestors got eaten because they didn't plan for the worst case scenario. So our forefathers and mothers, they were scared. They were looking for the worst case scenario, and it kept them alive. Yeah. But in a safe modern society, that feature is not beneficial to us anymore. We kind of need to learn about it, address it, and train not to be there, because that is, you can drive your own brain into mental health issues if you just lay awake at night spinning and spinning and spinning about all the terrible things that could happen to you.
So do you think, like, other pilots, I could imagine, still, if I'm hearing this today, it would be very hard to pick up the phone and call my supervisor or boss, whatever, and tell them then, well, I need to meet with a psychologist.
I think it's not only the pilot, actually, it's all the listener out there. Or
Now I'm just heading on the pilot,
just an input.
Overall.
Yeah. No, for me, it was not that hard. Of course, I had some mental barriers to jump before I could make that phone call to my doctor and say, yeah, sign me up. But I had a couple of key factors working for me. Company support, great support from my home, great support from my doctor. And here I think family is really important, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But there are, of course, different life situations where you don't have that support. When you're on a contract somewhere as a pilot, and your family situation is not in a way that you're not the best. And you don't trust your doctor at all. You see him as another bouncer. So of course, then it's much harder to
take that step.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you think they should? You would advise them to do it?
Definitely, because that what I gained from it is a life on the other side, which is so much easier.
And usually they don't throw you out from the club.
The company. They are. If we go back to that kind of machine thinking, they're the technicians trying to fix it. They want to fix your brain. So if our aircraft breaks, we really trust our technicians to take care of it in the best possible way. Definitely. We don't see the technicians as bouncers. We love them, and we see them that, there is something shady with this. I don't know what it is, but leave it with the technicians, and we get an aircraft which we trust again. Now, of course, we should do the same with our brain. If we feel that, oh my God, I don't know what this brain is doing, it doesn't feel like a safe place, it needs some fixing. Well, get some fixing to it then.
Yeah.
Don't try to self-cure for a long time. Go to the technician.
That's good advice. Self-cure. I think that's something I've been doing earlier in my life.
Yeah,
sure, because that's the first thing you do.
Right. Yeah. You want to fix it yourself. Exactly. But me and Per, for example, we would never take duct tape and go up to fix our aircraft.
No.
We would immediately call the technicians. That's the first thing we do. That is what makes aviation safe.
The best thing is the calculation I do in my brain is like, well, okay, I can go to a doctor, a psychologist, but before, well, they won't understand anyway.
You already set up your mind.
And that is
before I was like that, I think.
Yeah. But that's brilliant. That's brilliant, because I think so many can relate to what you're saying there. My brain is probably special. It probably works in a different way than the psychologist understands, so they won't get it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to go, well, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
It's just a human brain, Rickard. It's like everyone else.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But I have noticed a young generation now, the ones that are born in the early after 2000 years and said, how to call them, I think they are more open to this kind of thing with psychology. And I noticed the difference. I flew with a colleague who was very young. We talked about unfit and how to mitigate that. And he said to me, I filed for unfit 4 times last year. Mm-hmm. Really? I have done it once in all my career, almost 30 years. So they are more focused on themselves, and that's a good thing in that perspective. They take care of themselves as well.
They do. They are definitely more open. When I sit and speak to my first officer, I get a whole different response than when I have. I call them the old silverbacks in the kind of
gorilla.
They saw.
But I mean, we the ones I think I talk for all the 70s, the one who was born in
Generation X.
Yeah. I think that's like I was taught like that.
We were.
Yeah,
we were. If my dad was a sea captain and later a lawyer, and if I should tell you what his opinion about psychologists were, even if you were pirates, you would run out of here crying for the foul language.
I heard the expression brain shrinker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shrink.
So it's changing. It's going in the right direction, and I just hope that we can speed up that pace.
Yeah.
So it goes even
faster.
So
when you have like CRM training, you stress these things as well to mitigate stress and all that. You take it into your classes as well.
Yeah. That is actually mandatory nowadays. Yeah. It's regulated that we should address stress and mental health issues in the CRM classes.
It's interesting because when back in days, there was a lot of different standards on CRM training in my different companies, and it was a lot of mumbo jumbo, and also a lot of things that how we were limiting as human. You didn't take the mitigation into address back then.
No, exactly.
So that's a good thing. Yeah.
It is. No, so then we come to. So we have that. We need to kind of address the thoughts and see when they're beneficial for us or not, and see which is unrealistic and so on. But then we need the maintenance program.
Yeah.
The basic maintenance program, which is like the service program for the car or for your toaster or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
You empty it on breadcrumbs and so on. So the basics for what your brain needs is, of course, sleep. That's where we start.
That's a big.
That's the basic, and that is the most important one. So if you don't sleep well, do something about it. You need to read. You need something about how to sleep better. Try different pillows, different temperatures in your room. Go into it, solve it. And the next thing is physical exercise.
Yeah.
And here is so many interesting findings in the research world on how physical training actually even changes the brain after you've done it for a long time, like cardio training for a long time. There is research that shows that you actually build stronger connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, so you can withstand more stress. Like the brain is reconstructed. So you reconstruct your brain through physical training. That I've read in the brilliant book of a Swedish psychiatrist called Anders Hansen, called Hjärnstark. The immediate translation is Brain Strong. I'm not sure what it's called in English, if it has an English translation to it. But that book was just like an eye-opener for me. And I had no problem going to the gym or going out running after I read that one. So that is a real good tip if you want to get inspired to get some motivation on how to start to do physical training, because I do it for my brain.
Yeah,
I don't do it for my body. Getting in shape is a side effect, as I see it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have.
Primarily goal for physical training is my brain.
Yeah,
that I become a better dad, spouse, pilot. That's the reason I do it. That's the reason I go to the gym.
And that's true for me. If I've been sick or whatever, and I haven't been training for like week, 2 weeks, I can really feel that.
Me
too. In my head.
Yep. And you're so clear after a run. It just feels so much better, so much. But there's, of course, a lot of hormones that kick in as well. Endorphins and so on. So, and then we need good nutrition. Simple explanation. Do you want to, if you have a really beautiful car, whatever, do you want to put shitty stuff into the tank, or do you want to put the best stuff that you can possibly, get to it? Do you have a nice oil, premium oil for it? Or so you want to eat good. You want to eat well, and it shouldn't be a hard thing. So question yourself every once in a while, am I getting enough nutrition for my machine?
Yeah.
And for me, when I started to ask that question, it becomes easier and easier and easier to kind of make the healthy choices.
That's a difficult thing in our profession.
It is.
It's very hard to get
sleep is also a difficult thing. And exercise, because we're at different hotel rooms constantly and maybe don't have the best. So it's
a difficult task for us.
Yeah. I see it as that is kind of my main work to take care, to get enough sleep, to get exercise, to eat good. And then there are 2 more things. We need social interactions. It's really important, also hard in our work. Yeah. We get it in the flight deck. If we're lucky, we sit with a nice person that we have a lot of, where we feel that this conversation is energizing me on the way down to somewhere, so hopefully, or we should look for it. We should try to emphasize that and try to build it. Otherwise, get it on your spare time. See that you have relations in your life which is beneficial to you, where you feel energized through the conversations and through the social interactions that you get. It is very important that you do.
That's important. Yeah,
it is. It shouldn't drain you.
No.
And then the last one, which pilots always, they wrinkle their nose when I say this, but the last part is mindfulness or meditation. And then I lose all the pilots in the room. But let's rebrand it, okay? Let's put another name to it. Let's call it focus or concentration training.
Yeah.
So, Per, if I ask you, do you want to become better at concentrating, or do you want to gain a better focus?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, okay, here is the scientifically proved methods on how to train your focus or concentration. So one could dive into that deeply. I do a lot of yoga, and for me, that's beneficial because I get the workout done as well. And I feel really cleared afterwards. But I know that in the Norwegian Air Force, they had a lot of studies on mindfulness, active training on mindfulness, with really good results. And there are popping up pretty much all over the industry now that we should maybe look into this deeper, because this could be
I do believe beneficial. In that. Yeah, I do believe in it.
Believing, I think, is the wrong word. It's science behind it.
Okay.
But I think we should be taught this since we were kids, because I lived in Japan for a while back in 2004, and every time I walked to my work in the mornings, I saw the construction sites. All the employees is standing outside and do some not yoga, but it's like
Tai Chi
and stuff. And that's what they're doing before their work. It looks really awkward for me. That came from Sweden, but they find out and they got it.
They got it, and that is probably developed. Now I'm speculating a bit here, but that's probably developed through trial and error. It's like, if we do this, we work better. Okay, but now there is science behind it. research done on people who do that and people who don't do that. So it's science backed up now.
But this is nothing we see in Europe.
No, we talk a lot about mindfulness though.
Yeah.
And meditation, and studies are done in the military and both civilian and military aspect now on this. And I know if you dive down into this positive psychology, which showed up in the U.S., was the psychologist Martin Seligman, I think it's called. He kind of invented that whole genre of psychology, and they've done tremendous work with the armed forces in the States, where they kind of trained the instructors to be able to teach this. So it's starting to pop up, but we're still way behind in aviation, and we tend to be the first, but here we're not. So we need to get back on that a little bit.
Kind of interesting, as you said, you're way ahead in some aspects.
Some aspects, but not in this.
Yeah.
So if we look upon that thing as a checklist instead, where we go like sleep, check, nutrition, check, and then social interactions, check, and mindfulness and so on. If we kind of look back on the last 7 days and put pluses and minuses on those, did I get enough sleep? The last 7 days, I've been out on a working pattern, so I have like 3 days where I slept really bad, but I have 4 pluses. All right, so maybe I need to recover a bit on my sleep now during my days off. Next one, have I eaten good? Was it Mickey D's constantly, or did I choose the salad and so on? So if you kind of look upon these things that brain needs as a checklist and just look back in track and kind of summarize, am I on the good side or the bad side? That is where we could start with this maintenance program, as I see it. To give the brain what it needs, because if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough good nutrition or exercise, physical exercise, you need to start there, because you cannot magically just say, oh, I want to have good mental health. Well, you first need to do the basics of it, and so you can check yourself, go back the last 7 days. Have I taken care of my brain, or am I drinking 32 cups of coffee before I go to bed and don't sleep and wonder why? Constantly wake up and check my phone like 27 times during the nighttime. Then you need to do something about it. So these are the basic, and this is, I think, where we need to at least get the basics in, and we need to, of course, then teach people how to do the basics, or what are the basics, because we don't have any training for our brain at all. So that's kind of what I'm trying to preach to pilots, that we need to do this little checklist and see it as a maintenance program, because then we get it done. So now we got 2 checklists. We got the one to handle acute stress, which is the breathe slow, move slow, talk slow checklist on how to handle acute stress in everyday life. And we got the maintenance program, which is on how to give the brain the basics of what it needs, how to take care of it for a long time so it works good throughout your life. And then I've done a little last one, which I've named Checklist for Thoughts. And that one is kind of brings me back to the meeting with the psychologist, where he said you need to refocus. You cannot spin off in these thoughts, and it's connected with also the research that is done on resilience, because what they came up with the resilience studies was that the people that ended up on the good side, that had fantastic lives after they've been through a terrible time that bounced back and thrived, whose life is now better after a terrible situation in their lifetime than before. They had like 3 personality traits in common, which were clear. They were all optimistic, realistic, and flexible.
Yeah.
So those were the 3 personality traits which they had. So is it possible to train this?
Yeah.
To become more optimistic, realistic, and flexible? Well, then we again have to train our brain. So I named this little checklist for thoughts, and I use it in that kind of way that every morning we always plan our flight really carefully before. We brief and then we debrief constantly. We use that system.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a no-brainer to brief something. And this you can use in your own life. So have a little briefing in the morning. It takes 5 minutes. Brief what you're going to do through the day. Okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And then you put in the little, is this realistic, my plan for the day? Okay, you've put in a checklist of 42 points, which you know that you're never going to do. Well, then it's not realistic. So cut off 40. And instead of being disappointed with you because you didn't do 42 things, you only did 2, you're happy because it was a realistic plan. You did a realistic plan for the day. All right? So keep it realistic. Now, the second thing, is it optimistic? This plan that I have, this briefing that I have for my day. Well, look upon it in a different way. Is there something I could learn? Is there something where I can grow as a person? I'm going to meet these guys today. Okay. Could I get energized and have a good conversation with them? And all of a sudden you just look upon a meeting, a stressful day in a totally different way, where you can see, well, this could be a good day because I'm going to do this, that, and that. So keep it optimistic, your plan for the day. And then the last one, be flexible. If, a dark horse comes in from the side, or you get a curveball thrown at you, or even get hit by a brick in your face, be flexible about it. Okay, it didn't turn out as I thought. Expected. I got to move around the situation that comes up, but it could also be a positive thing. A good friend calls and asks, do you have time for a coffee? Well, is it realistic that I do have time for a coffee? And all of a sudden you're sitting with an old friend having a 20-minute really good conversation because you were a bit flexible. You weren't rigid to your to-do list or something like that. You're just a little bit more flexible in life. So if you do this and then have a debriefing during the evening, did the day turn out as I wanted? Was I optimistic, realistic, and flexible during the day? If you do this over time, you train your brain to become more realistic, optimistic, but you got to do it for a prolonged time, of course.
It's not a quick fix.
And we're all different from the beginning, so it's definitely not. But this is something we can do in real life to just have a little bit easier life.
I love this checklist. I printed it out and gave it to my family, all of us, my kids, my wife, and I think they didn't. It wasn't too advanced, and I just explained a little bit for them, and told them to try this over a time and see what it gets to.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love it. And I think we're going to print it out, or the link on our Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. So everyone who's listening can go inside and have a look.
Yeah.
Because this is something you can really use, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
even if you're not a pilot.
Again, let me ask you guys a question. So if you, what's on the other side of it? If you do this, what's on the other side for you?
It's achievements. It's a goal to get like where you want. I want to be the guy who, in one way, are the one who is calmly looking for my keys instead. I want to achieve, like, I can take not only emergencies, but I can even take, like, even if somebody's being an idiot to me in somehow, I want to be the one who talks back slowly maybe and say, okay, let's figure this out, instead of being the same way.
Yeah, I think it's exciting to start with it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think there's no downside, just upsides. So it's just start.
It could be really beneficial for you.
It could be
beneficial.
Good life.
Yeah, exactly. An easier life.
Easier life,
Easier, calmer life.
And I'm going to start immediately with a sleeping thing to figure out what is, because
research it.
That's a big issue for me, to get proper sleep and see how. So maybe you guys in here are going to see one day, wow, what happened to him?
I think I start now because I'm a little bit stressed because I'm off to Boston actually in the afternoon.
Cool.
And my phone is ringing right now, and my car is outside. So I try to breathe, calm, finish what I'm doing. So it's good.
Yeah. No. So really, the machine we have up there. I mean, we experience our whole life in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could it be a good idea to take care of it? Could it?
Yeah.
Start now.
Yeah.
Start now.
Right now.
Definitely.
Could start somewhere, or at least it might be a start for someone. So that's kind of where I want to round up with.
This is incredible. I could sit here for a whole day listening to this. It's so interesting.
Very interesting.
Nice to have you back.
Just it's so nice to have you back, Gösta. And
it was nice to be here. I wasn't here on the previous episode, so it was really nice listening to you.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, you really explain, so you can. It's not too hard to follow it and actually see a plan. Or
we should try to keep it to the basics.
What did you say on the last episode? You speak pilot.
There was some psychologists approaching me after the meeting down in Brussels. They said, "Oh, you speak pilot? We don't. Can we kind of tap into what you're saying there?" So I'm going to have a little bit of work together with them. It's the Center of Aviation Psychology. And they're doing really good things with peer pilots. So
wow, interesting.
Wow, very interesting. Yeah. And again, it was a real honor having you here. And thank you very much. So interesting.
Thank you.
To talk
good
about
to be
this.
back.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Maybe we can do this in another episode in the future.
Yeah, maybe.
See what happens.
Cool.
So with that, I think we're done. If somebody else want to have something to say.
Nope.
No. Then I wish all of you a good day.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have safely landed at our destination. Please ensure that your seatbelts remain fastened until the fasten seatbelt sign has been turned off. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us today. We hope you've had a pleasant flight, and we look forward to see you on board again soon.